Welcome to Say Your Piece, episode number 51. My name is Jamar.
My name is Christianne, and today we have experience curator and community builder Gabriel Galarza.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
Welcome to the show.
happy to
welcome.
be here. Happy to hear. It's a privilege and an honor.
Very excited. And today I want to be able to share with our listeners what exactly is an experience curator and what is the difference between a curator and a community builder.
Yeah,
So let's start with that.
that's so funny. So, what is an experienced curator? I basically was just trying to figure out a cool name to call myself. I think outside of work. So, day job, I pretty much am in tech. Consult within tech. It's not a glamorous sounding job. It sounds like what it is, but I enjoy what I do. It pays the bills. But on the side, I'm super passionate about just creating an experience. And so I thought about, do I want to call myself an experience engineer, a creator of experiences, but experience curator was short enough to just kind of keep it simple. And kind of what it is just pretty much putting things together, right? I want to create an environment where people walk in, they feel something, they leave feeling impacted. Having the power to say someone came out of a situation feeling a certain way. I think that's powerful. And I think everybody has their avenue of wanting to make someone feel or create. And I think just the experience itself is something that I'm super passionate about. So that's what experience curator means. And I think the community building aspect of it kind of comes around with building people or a community of people that want to share something that's very like-minded within those spaces. So that's my long-winded answer. But yeah, experience curator is what I settled on.
And that ranges from what type of events exactly?
Yeah, so I think it started off as just doing just random gatherings with friends. It started off in college of just bringing people together to just celebrate anything. I'm super passionate about celebrating just literally whatever accomplishments in people's lives because it's just a reason to pop a bottle of champagne or just drink a little something. So well, whatever the case may be. So we've done, I think it all started just by putting small things together. I moved out to the Bay Area and I realized like I didn't have too many friends out here. So me and my good friend Kyle, who's been on the show before, we pretty much are super passionate about just bringing people together just to do something. And so we pretty much started just inviting everybody we knew in every circle imaginable to just like a small gathering at our apartment. So try to just branch out our friend group. From there, friends bring friends, good like-minded people bring good like-minded people around. And from there, we just kind of expanded out. And so then we started throwing like a boat party, which was like the first thing we did. Got about 130 people to get on a boat in San Francisco, which like actually like got packed out and some people actually got turned away. It turned into like some sort of club. I don't know how that happened, but that was like the first experience that we had of like actually organizing something for people to come together and celebrate, but also do something a little extra, which is kind of what branched into our business that turned into an event planning business and a community building business, which we call Over the Top. So happy to talk about that a little bit more, but overall going forward, we planned events at yachts. We went to nightclubs. We just did like general events, girls' night outs, birthday parties, party buses, you name it. We just try to find ways to just bring people together and just have a good time.
Lit. I know. We talked about this OTT, which I've been there before at a few of your events.
Yeah, we celebrated your birthday about 2 years ago.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So we let me bring it back. We talked to Kyle about OTT briefly.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about how it came to be, but I think you talked about it a little more into depth. But do you think that was kind of scary for you to start OTT?
Yeah, I mean, I think starting something is always a little scary for sure. I think the scary part about events specifically is that if your business doesn't do well, or like something doesn't do well, nobody's gonna know, right? Because they don't see the money happening under the under the hood. But within the event, if nobody shows up, that's pretty evident, and that hits your pride pretty quickly. Like, hey, like this event is like not doing so well. So not only do you feel it in your pockets, but it's also a pride thing where it's like, oh wow, this event sucked. Nobody came out to it. So it's definitely a scary feeling. But I think what I started to learn over time is like the more authentic the invite is, the more authentic the actual event is to the people that you're inviting out. That's what gets people to come. Because we've definitely had the experience of trying to do something just to do it for clout's sake or whatever you may call it, and it just didn't work out. So it's definitely scary in that space.
Yeah.
Did you always want to do this, or did you just happen to just like start doing it one day?
No, so it's funny because, just even growing up as a young kid, I was a shy kid, and I was the one that never wanted to talk. I was hide behind my mom all the time. And I think just kind of going through college and just kind of coming to my own and being in the social setting, I realized what I enjoyed, and I had a power to just be able to speak to people. And I think from then I read a bunch of books like How to Win Friends and Influence Others, and things like that, to kind of learn how to just communicate better with people, and just overall just be able to be a better people person and communicate better. So from there, that kind of led me to just be more about around people a little bit. And I think that's what kind of ultimately got me to wanting to just be around people and like cultivating communities. Community is powerful. I think you all are probably involved in communities yourselves, whether it's in the film industry or whatever the case may be. But communities are what keep people around. I think you think about like gym communities, like CrossFit, like that's like a crazy community, right? If somebody's in CrossFit, they're in CrossFit. The vegan community, they will attack you together holistically. Like those communities are powerful, and that's what keeps people tight in those groups. So I'm a big proponent of it.
So you talked about having to read a few books, right? How to Win Friends and Influence I've heard of that book before, right?
Yeah.
But what kind of opened up the doors to be more curious about that? Do you think it was your experience going through college, or?
Yeah, just reading books in general.
Oh, really?
No, I was just asking, do you mean just reading books in general, or?
I mean, here's the thing. You crack open up a book and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm interested in this book. I kind of want to read it. But what essentially sparked your interest in opening an interesting book?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think for me, I'm pretty corny with it. I just like all the self-help books, and I'm curious to hear what you all think. Like for me, it's just I need a self-help book, something that's gonna like help me improve the betterment of me as a human being. And I think that's the stuff that I get all gushy about. And so when I read books and stories that talk through that, it's always big. So like The Alchemist was one book that I was first introduced to. I don't know if you've heard of it, but pretty much someone that goes through this journey of trying to find this treasure. And then the entire time, the treasure all along was the journey itself. And, it sounds super cheesy when I said it like that, but like the story that was told is just powerful in that. And I think within that, just like a lot of self-help books, whether it's just like reflecting on myself, I'm always into. What do y'all think? What are some big books that you've probably come across this past, like, I guess, year or so?
Well, I have The Alchemist on my coffee table right now. Like, I could literally reach to it right now. That's actually like one of the only books that I've read.
Okay, so Jamar mentioned before that he doesn't read. I have The Alchemist too, but I haven't read it yet. I have this tendency where I just buy books and it just sits there beautifully. And I'll try to read the first few pages, but I'll read it eventually. But heard of that one before. In regards,
I've been using Audible.
Yeah, that's much easier. Like, I think I'm gonna try that for the Trevor Noah book. But here's the thing: I bought the Trevor Noah book, and I told myself that I'm gonna do the Audible because I don't know, I need captions. Like, so I'm gonna read it at the same time, and it's a really quick book. I think the Audible is just 8 hours, so that's something I want to try out. But back to your question about what are thoughts on the self-help book? I've actually finished a few. I don't know. It kind of can get boring to me, but it can kind of get interesting depending how I feel. Whenever I'm feeling shitty, oh God, okay, let me just read something about mental health, or like whenever I'm like needing a push, let me just read this book by Rachel Hollis. Or whenever a guy's pissing me off, let me just read Why Men Love Bitches. Okay, let me just fucking read that shit.
Is that a real book?
It's a real book. It's right there within reach.
Table right there.
It's right there. It with these self-help books, it's regards to how I'm feeling in the moment, So that's why I kind of asked you, like, how'd you feel when you wanted to open up that?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was around just communicating better with people, just wanting to be able to navigate. I think I know what it is. It was the fascination of how people can work a room. Like there's people that can just get on the stage and just like move people with the way they talk, with the way they story tell, or just the people that move a room, even in like a social setting. Like I have friends that I look at and I'm like, I don't know how you just did that, but like everybody's listening to your conversation. And there's something about how you did it, but that's powerful. And so I think for me, I never want to be somebody that my conversation is boring. I want to be someone that everyone like gets something out of it, whether it's something valuable to them, whether it's just like a lighthearted moment, positivity. That's kind of what I want to exude when I talk to people, because I've been around people that are, boring, dull, or, completely self-centered. And that's stuff that I don't want to put out. So I just think about, how do I continue to study, just the art of people, what makes people really move. And I think people just at the center of it, like that's what I'm passionate about. So if you want to influence people, if you want to move people, if you have an idea that you want to push out, it always comes back to the people and the people or the community that you build. So I guess that's kind of how it led to the community piece of just always wanting to influence a group of people, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's a good question. I like that. Yeah.
You do have a point that when you talk to someone and when you're grabbed into their attention, you're just like, oh my God, how do they do that? And then once you study the art of conversation, you realize that it's more or less about yourself, right? I fucking hate it when people want to turn around and just say, oh, you got a horse? I got a bigger horse.
Oh my gosh, me too. Or the people that talk about like a situation, you're like having a bad day and their day was worse. You never want to be that person. Like, come on, like, it's not about you.
Story toppers.
Like, yeah.
Story toppers. Here's the thing that was starting. Here's the practice that I tried to start doing when I'm talking to people. If someone's venting to me, I've always started the conversation after they go on a full rant. Okay, what would you like for me to do? Do you want my advice? Would you like for me to just listen and let you talk? What is it? Because some people just want to rant just because they want to rant, and then they enjoy that conversation with just you listening. I think there's this book that I have that I read the first few pages to. I forgot the name of it. Maybe it was Talk Like Ted. I don't know. I forgot which one. It was one of these freaking books. But I think it was the art, how to speak, how to listen. And they talk about the 4 different types of conversations, like the counterparts of reading and writing. You can't do it without one or the other. And speaking and listening, you can't do it without one or the other. Right? So in order to be a natural conversationalist, you have to listen to people.
Yeah.
No, you have to listen in order to carry the conversation. So I think that's amazing how people like Jordan Belfort, we know that he's a very great salesperson, but something about the way that he talks and listens to other people, it engages them in conversation. Like as soon as he speaks, he's just like, oh shit, he's amazing. I actually do want to buy that pen. Right.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the accent or him, but yeah, Wolf of Wall Street just in general. One of my favorite movies. It's toxic in many ways of how he like came up to what he was doing, but like the hustle mentality of it, that stuff that gets me going, man. It's like that whole story. Or another movie that I talk about all the time is The Social Network, and seeing like the Mark Zuckerberg climb up. And I guess they probably portrayed him in a bad way. I don't know the history behind it, but despite that, like I'm always fascinated by that, like really charismatic, but also like kind of like douchey, but also really smart and know what they're doing type of characters, like the Tony Starks and you name it. Like those are my characters that I'm big fans of, just the way they kind of move rooms, but also just like know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So
I guess it depends if you're really interested in what they're talking about, because
yeah.
Right. Like I probably wouldn't be listening to someone if they're talking about math, But if you're listening to Elon Musk and people with money, hell yeah, I'm going to engage in and listen to that. Right.
Yeah.
How does a person like what are some tips for people to like be able to captivate like their audience, to like catch their attention and everything? Because like I know with me, when I'm speaking about something, I have to be like real passionate about it. If it's something like that I don't really care about, I'll just be like the most dull person ever. But if it's like something like say like about cameras, I'll be like going on and on about it and everything. So it's just like, how do you have that with everything that you speak of? like speaking?
Man, that's like an intrinsic question of like, why do I exist? Like, what's my purpose? I think when you have that answer, like that's kind of what pings out of. I have people that I've worked with in the past who will give a training about, a software platform, but the passion that they speak with it and the movements and the change of their tone, it's a really exciting thing to listen to. And like they talk like that about a software or about, like Jordan Belfort and his pen, whatever the case may be, but it gets you going. And I try to be mindful of that too. If you all are familiar with Tony Robbins, I went to like a small section of his conference once, and he's super exciting to listen to. He's always passionate when he talks. If you haven't heard him speak, for anyone listening to the show, but there was one piece that he said when he said to the crowd, "I want you to introduce yourself like to the person across from you, like they are like the bane of your existence. You hate them. And you never want to see them again. You have no idea why you even have to touch them or talk to them." And then everybody's dejected, shoulders down, like not looking at them in their eyes, like barely giving them a hand. And then the exercise switches and he said, "I want you to talk to this person like they're like your long lost friend. You haven't seen them in 5 to 10 years. What do you do?" And then, everybody's like running to this person like, "Oh my God, so good to see you." Eyes wide, a lot of hand gestures. And that gives a different feeling. And so that's a piece for me. Like it's a set of posture. And when I'm trying to introduce myself to people, I try to keep that in mind. Like, am I like just shoulders down, like not looking at them, sounding a little low in my tone, because they're gonna pick that up. And so stuff like that, I stay cognizant of. And I think Tony Robbins does it so good, and he's just like passionate, and like his voice is raspy because he's always yelling. So I'm sure he does it so much.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's keeping that vibe for when you're interacting with someone. Like you don't want to talk to someone who's hella sad all the time. Like, hey, like he walks in and you're disappointed. So in regards to continuing conversation and community building and this pandemic, what ways have you tried to keep connecting with people during this period?
Yeah, this is the big question, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're like, I know a lot of my single friends struggling out here, like this is like the hard time to be looking, but like just in general, like you just need somebody to talk to. For me, it was crazy because, with Over the Top, we planned events and we were like, at least for me, like a lot of it comes with socializing, being out. And then just personally, I'm always out and I love to be out, just engaging with people, talking, feeling like I'm having conversation. And so, I'd be out in Oakland on a Friday night, go to San Francisco on a Saturday, come across the bridge, always looking for some sort of community to interact with. And now all of that changed once the pandemic hit. Like all of my plans from like a Thursday through Sunday were completely different. Even my Sundays, I was super involved with church and being there active every day. That was a big part of my community that I'm involved with. I couldn't even have that, right? And that's like a spiritual place that I find near and dear to me. So basically, like a lot of it was virtual. It was cool for the first like 2 weeks, happy hours everywhere. Everybody got their new backgrounds. Like we're all playing in Zoom now. And then over time, it just kind of like drained out. So I think for me, like I hit a pretty big lull. Over the Top community, we didn't really throw any events just because of like trying to navigate things. So that was a big introspective moment for like our business and how we kind of shifted from last year. But then ultimately, like, I'm not gonna lie, a big community that I built out was like my Call of Duty community. I hadn't played Call of Duty in a minute, so I got my Warzone community. I found a bunch of cousins and friends from back in the day that I haven't seen or talked to, and now we talk every day. Even today, just like getting online, like talking it up. Definitely not the same community, but completely just a different, I guess, avenue to like connect with people. So that's kind of like the short of it and kind of how I dealt with it. I think over the time that kind of kept me kind of slow. And so what we've been doing as things started to progress with COVID is find the new outlets, like find the holes in the system of what we could do. So for my birthday in October, when things were kind of light, but before they picked back up with COVID, I planned a trip to Cabo. You all been to Cabo before?
I haven't.
Oh gosh, amazing experience. What my roommate at the time had described it as Vegas, but cheaper. So we didn't get to do all the full like partying aspect of it like Vegas, but we went to Cabo, had an amazing experience, and it was kind of a beta to what we wanted our Over the Top community to push out. We're not doing large events anymore. We're not throwing events in venues. But how do we like transition that community that we had to destinations and go somewhere with like a smaller, intimate group of 10 to 15 people and to try to keep things COVID safe and things like that. Had an amazing trip, best trip of my life, hands down. We made a music video to the pop star music video to Drake. We just recreated it. It was a full experience, and like that was like a crazy way to just like find rhythm to a business centered around big events to make it more intimate and build a more intimate community. So from there, we like did another trip for Kyle's birthday again. Keep bringing him up. Shout out to Kyle. And then we did a trip for him this past month. Went to Breckenridge, Colorado. Most of us went snowboarding for the first time. A lot of similar people from that trip went, but we added in some new folks that were able to make it. They're now a part of this over the top community. We're expanding out. And so like, I think what we learned was like, no matter what, there's always a way to kind of build community. But in COVID, you kind of figure out the little ways to navigate how to do that, right? So it wasn't all lost, I guess you can say. And so like now we found a new way and niche to kind of continue to push that forward.
Did you try considering virtual socialization?
Yeah, I think it was tough because just like the Zoom fatigue. I think people just got tired of like the virtual world, and there's definitely value to it. Don't get me wrong, but like you have to have some sort of activity attached to it. Like I don't know if you've all had any successes with anything virtually, but like Call of Duty is the closest to that. But that's because we're playing a full video game. But other than that, like I don't know, like I haven't really tried virtual like gym communities or all these other things that I've seen around. But I'm curious, what do y'all think? What anything work for you?
Well, I'm on Call of Duty too, so I got the same experience. Yeah, you be doing it. Yeah.
Let's get some quads going. We'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only one thing that I've done during this period that encouraged some sort of socialization was the fundraiser for NAACP. That was the one that I had. And what that entailed was getting a DJ to play on Twitch and invited a lot of people and had people donate as they were on Twitch. And then of course there's a chat room and such, but that one was like really fun because he was slapping all the good songs, right? That was the only one idea that I had. And then of course, like between coworkers and team members hosting games and stuff, right? Because there's more than just like sitting there and talking and having some conversations. You can host like trivias and weird ass games, or like I don't know. That was just some ideas that I had that I've incorporated. I actually thought about like doing something like for the community, but I'm not like, I don't know, like that was a lot of work for me. I don't know. I'm just like, nah.
You did bring up a good point though, just talking about like a lot of, if anything, 2020, may have not been a party year, but it was definitely like a big year politically and like, of social activism. So we did tie in like some things around that, because I think at the end of the day, we can't just try to push something that's not going to happen, but that was huge at that year. So I think even for our business, we planned events around the election and like just getting voter registrants. And so we pushed to get over like 250 people voted, or to get registered to vote online, just all across the country. So we did something like that virtually. So and just to that, I think a lot of people did start to push out more of those types of activities, because that's all possible virtually to get active, to be involved in that way.
Right, because you did the social fit club too, right?
Yeah, we worked with them. They were able to give us space to work, just a little booth, and pretty much just have people pull up whenever people actually just went to their workout. And shout out to Social Fit Club, a great community that they're building out in San Francisco. Basically we said, hey, your community is here. They're doing this. By the way, let's just get them registered to vote. Like, let's just support this. And people were on that, I think. All across the board, like everybody's for social activism, especially, which is kind of interesting, seeing how tech companies have gone like, oh yeah, this is cool, versus before it was like, don't talk about it in the office. But now, it's like, no, we have to.
Yeah. What do you think you have for people who get more socialization? Like, do you have any advice for them? Because I'm pretty sure there are some people who are craving socialization. Like me, it's been a year now. I just want some more. So right?
Just
But
talk
of
to
course,
your
huh?
just talk to your mailman or someone, whoever is like
Yeah.
around.
I've been, you know what? I've been texting people, hey, how you doing? Like, I haven't talked to you in the
A
past
long time.
week. Like, oh yeah, like how have you been doing? Like, I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
haven't talked to you since the new year.
Yeah, yeah.
But what's your advice for increasing socialization?
It comes to community, honestly. I think community is so powerful in just anything. If you want to build a
Mm-hmm.
business, if you want to just like learn to do something new, level yourself up in some way, like community is probably the easiest way to do it. I'm a big advocate of like just doing things together, just makes it 10 times faster. I don't know what that saying
Mm-hmm.
is. It's like if you want to go somewhere fast, you do it alone. If you want to go somewhere far, do it together or something like that. I'm probably messing it up.
Mm.
It's something along those lines. But at the end of the day, like I'm super involved in a bunch of communities. Personality wise, that fits me because I'm an extrovert. I like getting to know a lot of people, but even introverts, right? If you want to just like even have virtual sessions or just like a community of people that, you don't have to interact with as much and be more intimate, those are all available for whatever you're interested in. So for me, I'm
Yeah.
very involved in my church community.
Definitely.
That keeps me with my spiritual life going. I have my over the top community. Those people keep me grounded in all aspects of life. One, always making things over the top. So for those who don't know, over the top, we basically amplify gratitude through celebration, and there's never a reason to. There's no such thing as a reason to over celebrate a moment. So we make it over the top, everything over the top. So I give that context because that group makes me over the top in every aspect of my life. If I'm slacking in some way or just being real dull in the moment of something that, whether it's my goals or my job, they make sure to let me know, like, no, that's not what you do. You're over the top. You're about doing everything above and beyond. Cool, got it. So that community keeps me in tabs. Just involved in a lot of different communities. Like my fraternity back in school keeps me just socially involved. Just in general, there's always a community. I mean, I'm sure you all have been involved in communities in your life that keep you kind of,
Mhm.
whether it's in shape, physically, mentally, spiritually, or whatever the case may be. So that's my biggest thing. It's just find a group and then just get involved there.
Okay, so for some cases, for people, they're a little hesitant because of COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
it would be an encouragement to find something online, essentially search up on Google or something, right? Like,
Yeah, or something safe. Yeah. No, but no,
yeah.
yeah, even Googling it, I think, I know a lot
Mm-hmm.
of groups of people that are doing things in just smaller groups, even if it's like hike clubs, if you're just trying to get active and just find places to hike. Even like if you're doing video shoots, I know groups
Mm-hmm.
that do video shoots together in like smaller groups outdoors. Fitness groups, running groups, a lot of things like that. Even if you're not into it for like the long run or just like the season,
Mm-hmm.
I know a ton of people that just joined biking or cycling like just during COVID because there's nothing else to do. And like that's a
Yeah.
group of people you now met and can be friends with, hopefully beyond just cycling. But
Yeah.
I think everyone's craving a little like socializing because like I would consider myself an introvert. And even
Mm.
I'm like, damn, I need to get out and do something and go talk
Yeah,
to people. Yeah. So I
yeah, no,
completely
absolutely.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I have a few friends that are they find themselves to be introverts, but like their biggest passions are around music, and music's an easy
Mm-hmm.
thing. You can listen to music together, you can talk about music together. I know for anyone who goes to the barbershop, a, a big thing is just talking about sports, music, pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a community of its own too, right? People that go to the barbershop together. So you can find those type of conversations in different platforms. I mean, you see Clubhouse is now booming because people
Mm-hmm.
want to just talk about stuff, right? People just want to be somewhere, talk about whatever. Granted, Clubhouse gets a little ratchet sometimes. I don't know if y'all been on it, but
Yeah,
there
dude.
are communities to talk about some good stuff that can be insightful to whoever's listening. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think people are dating during COVID?
A lot of my friends are on the apps. They said they got FaceTime on the app, so I guess that's popular.
They
You got to
added
be real
FaceTime on
intentional.
the apps. I never knew
Yeah,
that.
it's like a little video chats on them
Uh-huh.
apparently. So, who needs to get a phone number? You just go straight to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think you saw Bumble just I think they just
They
IPO'd
IPO'd.
and they're like
Mm-hmm.
in the billions. And I think that's like
Yeah.
big validation that like at,
Mm-hmm.
at at the end of the day, people still want to date. Like that's like
Mm-hmm.
a big piece of socialization is like, you go out, sometimes you're into meeting somebody new, especially for the single people, which is a lot of people in this world. So always going to be a market for single people, just like there's a market for food or breathing air, I guess. So yeah, it's a big valid, proof point.
There's always going to be a market for people who die and people who want to date.
Well, it's all true. It's all true.
Same thing, right?
So,
Market,
Yeah, I never thought about it like that. So there's always going to be a market for single people. Come on now.
Yeah.
You think there's going to be a market for like, oh, no, they can't come up with something new like that. That would be so stupid.
What?
Like, no, that actually,
there's
no,
a market for
Tinder.
everything.
Yeah. I heard there's a market for human baby milk.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Like people want to buy.
People who can't produce milk. Maybe.
Oh,
I
was saying it in a way that like there's lifters who actually drink that because it has a lot of protein in it.
Oh damn!
Wow.
I wasn't
Recreationally,
expecting that.
like
very, very distinctive.
Oh, I wasn't
2%
expecting
reduced soy baby
Human.
breast. Wow.
Women's breasts.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. Well, I mean, they take it out the cow, so I guess why not? I don't know.
Right. Now, before we go into the lightning round, I kind of want to open up your final thoughts about socialization during the pandemic. And what do you think is going to be different when we get back? Do you think people are going to be a little more hesitant?
I think it's hesitant. Yeah, it's hesitant right now. But there are people that just like jump at the opportunity. We had the first trip that we planned, starting things back up with the over the top planning was in Cabo. And there was some hesitancy there, but I thought that was a pretty exciting opportunity. We're gonna go to Cabo, but obviously people were like, no, out the country, it's a little unsafe. And then the second time we did it in January, we went to Breckenridge, Colorado. So not as exciting, local, cold, so there's no beach, but you have like the activities of snowboarding, which actually snowboarding in Colorado is much more expensive than the trip to Cabo. I'm gonna just throw that out there. It's crazy. I did not realize that. Snowboarding is an expensive sport. And within 24 hours, we had all of our spots kind of filled out for the lodge, to go to Colorado. And that's interesting because I think there was a spike in COVID around this time, and October wasn't so bad. And so it just kind of showed like there's demand of like, oh, this is a guaranteed good time that's going to be safe. Yes, lock me in. So I imagine like for the next trip that we're planning, we're going to announce pretty soon, there's going to be that demand and people are going to be more loose about it. The vaccine is coming out. It's not going to be as quick of a spike, but even in like Miami, if Atlanta's any kind of precedent to it, these two cities are booming in the nightclub industry right now. It's like nothing is going on. So I imagine like 2022, 2023, it's going to be like the roaring 20s all over again. Partying and like going crazy is just going to go through the roof, traveling. So that's where the money's going to be. And I think I'm kind of in a good place right now to kind of tackle that pivot. Like everybody says during these hard times is when companies are made or broken. Right now, we're really trying to capitalize on that space of building this community that wants to have a good time, that's validated to be a good time, before it all just explodes into like everybody's going back out in the world. I looked it up historically. The Great Depression was then followed by, after the Roaring 20s, it was the Great Depression. So hopefully we don't go into an economic downturn as a country. But if anything, I do feel like we are entering that era of the Roaring 20s, going out, having a good time. So at this very moment, we're pretty much at the thick of it as it's going to start to open back up. Find that niche in the socialization space if we can. So
that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think when COVID starts to like die down and more places start to open up, I think everything is going to start to boom and everyone's going to be wanting to go out and spend money.
Like, I mean, just think about it. I before we even started going on these trips, they said, okay, how much do I need to spend to just do something fun? And I don't know what that price is for you all, but for me, like I'm dropping the stack on the next trip available at this point, so.
Yeah. I know last year, Jamar said that he wanted to travel the world for his New Year's resolution.
I had Hong Kong planned in February.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. So it was a good thing I didn't go over there because goddamn, I'll probably be stuck over there.
Yeah, dude. I was in Mardi Gras this time last year.
Wow. This time
Yeah,
in February. Oh, right in the thick of it.
it was the last hurrah, and I think afterwards, New Orleans was hit by COVID because of how many people went there for Mardi Gras. Damn, dude. Because during that time, it was China that was closing down. It wasn't necessarily the US. And then when I came back to work, they were like, oh, well, the Google office is closed. And my boss was like, don't come in. Don't come in. And I didn't know that it was just going to be forever. So
I feel like the US, when it really hit us was when what's his name? Gobert in the NBA. When he tested positive and then they shut down the game.
Serious.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
like,
when they're
Tom Hanks came out with it, right?
yeah.
They were serious.
Yeah. And then like a day later, they just shut everything down.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
That
March
was so
Madness
fucking
hit too.
crazy.
It was crazy. Like, yeah.
The Olympics, then Coachella, and then everyone went crazy when Coachella got
Everyone went crazy. You know what I remember? Lovers and Friends. That was that festival that we were questioning if it was even real. I had tickets to that, and then they were like, "Okay, come back in August," and then that was even canceled.
You ever get
in
refunded?
August. Yeah, I got refunded. Yeah, I better.
I heard a bunch of people from Coachella didn't get refunded.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really crazy. People are going to be like losing their minds when they get back out. Legit. Fuck it.
Question for you all. What's the next? When do you think you're going to be comfortable with just traveling recreationally? Not for work, but just like recreationally, go somewhere that you can go, like Brazil or Costa Rica. When do you think that's going to be for you?
Probably when I get the vaccine. Oh, you're end of the year?
I think towards the end of the year. Towards the end of the year and beginning next year, but I'll probably still be wearing a mask everywhere. I don't think masks are gonna go away for a while. And like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna go away for a while for masks. But I think people will start to travel and everything probably towards the end of this year or towards the summertime probably. I think things will start to get back to normal. I mean, I'm hoping. So hopefully.
Yeah. 2022 will definitely be the year. Things will start booming. I'm seeing it. I'm calling it right here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So much money is going to be spent, yo, in 2022. Watch. And hella people going to be knocked up too.
Yeah. Post-COVID babies.
I got some lightning round questions for you.
Let's do it.
What's your go-to dance move?
Ooh, go-to dance move. That's a hard one. I got a couple. What's my go-to? I feel like I hit one of these every now and then. I don't know if you. This is like too big. I don't feel like that's me. What is me? Like maybe one of these, hands in the air, kind of vibrant. One of these.
Jamar, do you even dance?
Yeah, I do.
Jamar's watching, and I'm just like curious.
Yo,
who
I
used
to turf, yo. I used to turf back in like hyphy days, yo.
Okay. I try to keep my Bay Area dances too. That's also another thing I try to like pick up. I get made fun of from Bay Area people. They don't claim me yet, so we're working on it.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna say anything to that. You already know the answer.
You will never know. I get it.
So you have the hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care, and what else you got?
A little hit the whoa, but it just became overpopularized, very Americanized after TikTok took it. So it's like you can't really do it anymore with as much culture.
I remember,
to it,
remember when everyone was dabbing?
Oh yeah, that was like 2016, right?
Yeah, and Nancy took it over. After Nancy started doing it, you can't do it as much.
Fucking shit. Always got to ruin it. Always got to fucking ruin it.
So what is your go-to dance move now, Jamar?
Right now? Shit,
yeah.
Probably Dougie. It's that Dougie, yo. Yeah.
That's Dougie. So funny. I could see that. If you could only listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's not fair. It's always going to be Drake. All right. I'm definitely a fanboy. So, Take Care is probably the classic. You can probably listen to that. I might be sad the rest of my life if it's literally only that album. But there's some love. There's a little bit of hype into it. We're gonna go with Take Care. Can't go wrong with Take Care.
Good choice. Good choice.
Jamar, yours is J. Cole, right? Forest Hill Drive.
Yeah, of course. It's J. Cole.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. The concert you put on was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing concert.
What's yours, Christianne?
I'm always gonna take Beyonce. I'm gonna take B-Day.
Ooh.
That's a good one. That has like all the like lively hits. It's like her normally like every song on that album is basically in her performances, right?
Yeah.
If you can have an extra hour of free time every day, how would you use it?
Man, I sound like a workaholic when it's like just do something, building the business. I mean, building any brand or business is just a lot of work. I'd probably like put it into that. I say that, but if I'm productive with my day, it'll probably just be playing Call of Duty at this point. I wish I could be doing something else, or say like pick up a new hobby, like learn an instrument, but I'd probably play Call of Duty in actuality. I'd like to say it's like building out the brand or finding a way to keep the community talking about something, but it's probably Call of Duty. It's very sad.
Rest is important. Rest is important. We're working like 16-hour days, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's very true.
If you can have an endless supply of food, what would it be?
Endless supply of food. I could really do with some mac and cheese. So I'm just gonna go with my favorite foods. Mac and cheese, always and forever. If you're from Miami, you know what a pastelito de guayaba is. I haven't eaten a lot of those since I've been trying to watch the diet, but that's always a plus.
What is that? I have no idea what that is.
So it's a guava pastry. It's like a guava puff pastry. It's like sugar coated on the top. It's golden. The guava is just like oozing out of it. It's just deliciousness. It's a very common Cuban
growling.
It's amazing. You see a lot in Miami, New York, LA, all like the very like Latin centric places will have those pastries, but Miami especially, there's a ton of those pastries on top of like a tres leche. That's also my favorite dessert. I'm just gonna go on an endless list of food, but let's just go with mac and cheese. That's like my favorite food. Sushi too. Sushi has been coming up on my list lately. Can't go wrong with sushi.
I was just gonna say you're talking about diet, and then you said, "Oh, but I'll take mac and cheese."
Yeah, I mean, when you're on a diet, because right now I'm eating things like rice cakes with protein frostings.
Oh, I can't do that shit, yo. I can't do that shit.
Yeah, like that's what I'm doing right now. Because it's COVID and you got a lot of time to yourself, but it makes you think about mac and cheese a lot more. Can't hate on it. You gotta crave it.
Well, I had a really fun, engaging conversation with you, since that was kind of like the topic for today, engaging with one another and continuing the conversation. Yeah,
y'all are very easy people to talk to. Keep the thing going. I'm really excited to be on here. Thank you for thinking about me. So keep it going, keep the conversation flowing, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you for your time. And for anyone who's curious about what the fuck is going on with my camera, I don't know. I have no idea. So we'll fix that for next time.
Well, for everyone listening, where can they find you on?
Yeah, find me. Main source is Instagram at @thedandale. The name came from a YouTube channel that I made a long time ago. THEDANDALE. But more importantly, follow Over the Top XP on Instagram, or just visit us on our website, overthetopxp.com. That's where we curate events, build our community of really dope people that like to do dope things together and support each other and build their businesses. So follow those.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure having you. And thank you to everyone who listened. And we'll catch you again next week.